So writing, when I went back to school, I decided to major in English, and writing really became my catharsis because I couldn't speak fluently. So writing was where I was able to express myself. I was working with a counselor at school who was helping me with college. And when I told her, after I graduated with my BA in English, I told her that I wanted to go and get a master's in special education. And she said, Mark, we can't support you in this. She said, if you do this, she said, no one will hire you, no one will understand you. And I remember walking out of that office and I never returned. Then a couple years later, after I got my master's, I interviewed at Jordan Elementary. And I remember I was so green, I didn't have any real experience, but I really entertained the heck out of that hiring committee. And I'll never forget, they asked me, they said, hey, would you ever tell a kid you liked them? I said, well, I certainly wouldn't tell a kid I didn't like them. So I think they recognized my passion, and that was what got me the job. So there's a student that I had my first year named Tamara, who dealt with a lot of the same things in fourth grade that I dealt with, that I was still dealing with, medication-wise. That was my first year of teaching, and she actually, right around CSAP, she came to school with some bruises that were very questionable, and so I had to make a DHS call. So, it was one thing being on one side of a DHS call, and now I was on the other side of it, and it was a very tough. It was tough to swallow, and so I wrote a poem inspired by her. And this situation is called Bystander, and this one is in my book. You stagger into my classroom, papers falling from your books, and I know you haven't taken your medicine. You look like your mom, the sweatpants, the rushed hair, the knock-knock broken aspirin bags under your eyes. You look like her, except you're tiny. Fourth grade doesn't play by the rules when your bio dad left the game early. It doesn't explain life in future tense verbs or number facts or pinky swears. It doesn't open a hand and ask, why? Even the psychiatric drugs you take for ADHD, depression, and anxiety don't explain why your mother leaves you in charge of your own medication. In the morning, you say a crisp goodbye that's returned with muffling from under her covers, through the door with the hole you made with a broomstick. Her costing breaths are the answers when you're done making your own lunch of 2 pieces of bread and a can of Coke. Mom? The door doesn't talk back when you want to say bye-bye. Take a spray of her vanilla perfume. Check that you know the wrong answers to the questions that keep you blue-eyed, and make sure you don't mention the unmentionable. Your stepfather came home from Iraq 2 weeks ago, and you've come to my classroom with a new bruise every other day this week. Black ran blue on your shin, red times 2 on your arms, saying you got them during testing, saying you were tough, tiny, tough. You told me I could adopt kids, but not you. But maybe your daddy and I could be friends. And I didn't want to believe the faces on your bruises, the scratch marks around your elbows. I wanted to think that you were just as clumsy as you said, that a second grader did do it during morning recess, or that it was Halloween and you were dressed up as a girl who'd been abused, as I picked up the receiver and made a phone call that was tougher than you. So, my second year at Jordan, I had the pleasure of working with this young girl. I think she was in 4th grade at this time. Her name was Amani, and she was a survivor of Hurricane Katrina. She came to Colorado because her family lost their home in Hurricane Katrina. And she comes up to me one day, she goes, Mr. C, I calculated that I'll be 66 when the 50th president is elected. I go, really? How old will I be? She goes, dead. I go, what? Are you sure? She goes, well, maybe 85 or 95 or dead. So teaching really was a healer to me. Just like poetry, teaching and poetry have been healers to me. The relationships that I was able to build with kids inspired me to succeed as much as I'd like to think it inspired them to succeed. One thing I love about my students is they don't see my disability. They don't. To me, I'm just Mr. C. And my students, they don't even see color. They don't see color or, religious differences. They don't see any of that. One day I was talking to a group of kids, and it was a 4th grade group, and these 2 kids said, "Hey, Mr. C, there's this kid who's bullying us." And I said, "Really? What's his name?" They said, "Christopher." And I'm cycling through my head, thinking of all the Christophers in their grade, and I think of this one kid. And I go, "Is he African American?" And they look at each other, and they're like, I said, "Is he black?" They said, "No, actually, he's wearing green today." Another kid one time came in with a buzz cut, almost pretty similar to mine. He was a kindergarten boy. His name was Amari. And I said, "Hey, you got a new haircut, buddy?" He goes, "Yeah." I go, "We're like twins." He's like, "We're not twins." I go, "Why not?" He goes, "Because my hair's going to grow back." So another student I was blessed to work with was a girl named Katya. Katya was adopted from Russia, and she had some pretty significant disabilities, and she loved Miley Cyrus. She loved Miley Cyrus so much, she got me to buy the Hannah Montana movie. Now, if you tell any single women that I bought the Hannah Montana movie, I'm denying it tooth and nail. But I'll never forget during CSAP, I really got on her because I felt like she didn't give a great effort. And she cried. I just felt so bad going home that night. I was like, it's a test. Yeah, it's important, but it's just a test. So I had this poem in my book that's inspired about her. It's called Special Education. There's so much to do for you, like teaching you how to ask to play with other kids on the playground, when to borrow in subtraction, when not to walk behind me and give me bunny ears, to teach you to check your work, even if you're the right answer. Maybe it's the fetal alcohol syndrome that makes you forget to wash your hair, brush your teeth, and ask for help to sharpen your pencil that isn't dull. And you're always talking about that rock star with the blonde wig. Sometimes I want more for you, but usually I want you to want more. Dear patience, your eyes late with wonder, tapping the room as you look around for something to keep you, not those cold mornings when you couldn't sit up straight on the stone floors of the Russian orphanage where all you knew were new voices. There's a sympathy to you that pulls like a pretty face to a camera. You're a sad that never gets angry, a wing in a world without air. You don't push yourself to the front of the lunch line. You don't tell on every kid that calls you the R word. You smile a smile told in 2 tenses, one now, the other improbably. And sometimes you interrupt me or call me crazy when I'm trying to teach you the vocabulary word of the day, or how to look both ways when you cross the street. And I want to call your mom so she can fix you like a shirt missing a button. But you walked into my classroom this morning, your pencil hidden behind your back, and gave me a note. Dear Mr. C, I am not going to be at school tomorrow. I am sorry. Can you please give me the homework? Thanks. Your expression deep like pockets, laughing that laugh and a half when I give you sarcasm potted in a no. Nope. Dear Patience, if you could not walk, I would not walk for you. I would not tell you to walk straight, just to walk straight. I would let you stand on my shoes and push you just enough to build your balance, so that nothing less could fall you over. I may have given the tests, but you taught me to never look a girl in the eye when she's crying and pretend like she's not. Thanks. P.S. You're a rock star. Another student, I worked with this boy. He went by a nickname. I'm not going to tell you his name, but his nickname was Racer, and he had autism. And there are just some kids that just change your life. And some of the ones I've talked about, they've all had their impact, but this kid really changed my life. And I remember coming to school one day and just, having a rough night the night before with my disability and feeling bad about life and just not liking myself. And I got to work, and a couple hours into the day, someone called me to Racer's classroom and said that he was having a meltdown. So I took him to my classroom, and he said, "I don't like myself." And I said, "Okay, Mr. C, now's the time to show him what you're made of." Because here I had to coach him on something that I wasn't feeling. So I took him to my room, and I had him do a drawing. I decided that he would do a drawing and I would do a drawing of things that make us happy. And this is the drawing. And his drawing is here on the right. And he drew the 3 things that make him happy. He drew a picture of Mr. C, tell me something good, a lowrider, and ludicrous. I drew a picture of us racing. And the first thing he did when he saw my pictures, he erased his head because he wanted to be taller than me. And I said, look, let's make the finish line the last day of school where we're happy with ourselves. And that was something that I think really, really helped him and I that day. And this is another thing I used to tell him. Focus on what you can control. I used to tell him that all the time. So this next poem is a poem inspired by Racer, and it's called Racer. You're everything in blue. Blue t-shirts, blue hats, blue pencils. If it's blue, you like it. Just as how you like to raise your hand in math. How old is Sonic the Hedgehog, you ask? Well, let's look it up. And we always do. You walk into class whipping your shoulders with a rubber snake. It helps me calm down. Your roomy gaze working questions you cannot noose. And you never like it when my answer contains the word maybe. Do I have to like you, you ask? No, you don't. Is that a fact or opinion? Opinion. Okay, well I do. Like you. I remember the first time I spoke to you. You were at recess and you asked me to race you. After I let you in, you asked, who's faster, me or the Denver Broncos? And I thought about the drubbing they took the Sunday before and pointed your way. And that day we were working on writing when you told me I reminded you of Porky Pig because of the way I stutter. And you apologized, said you felt bad for me because I talked that way. And I wanted to be better for you. I wanted to cleave my words clean, like water poured from a glass, as I told you to be nice to yourself. How awesome you are, and funny, and smart, and nice, and cool? You asked? Yeah, and cool. Okay, can you tell me all those things again? But I just told them to you. Yeah, but I like hearing you say them. Like the time you worried about me going to Canada to visit my grandfather and wrote in the worry chest that you wanted to come with me. My voice cornering, I told you I would be back in a few days and that you would be just fine with the Seb. Oh, it's not that I'm going to miss you. I'm just worried that you're going to have fun without me. Dear Racer, you showed the rain new ways to fall. Your smile sharing in embers of charity for those that think but do not know. Taking the what if and making it the what is. Everyone who knows you loves you like pieces, most unreached, an air tapestry of an eye that only looks out. When we walk and you lag behind, you remind me that no one said ready, set, and that life didn't always color within the lines of you, for you. Dear Racer, you're as beautiful as a second chance. The words you traffic that sound like a toddling breeze pushing between 2 tree branches. Keep racing. That tree will move yet. But today you came to my classroom wearing a red t-shirt, red hat, and red shoes. You told me red was your new favorite color, and there was a stitch to your step. You didn't seem like the old racer who laughed when we watched Taco Bell commercials or who said he wanted to learn about life from me. Instead, you teetered up to me, your face dressed with decision, voice pulled like roots digging, and said that you didn't want to have autism anymore. My second year of teaching, I met this student. I was dibbling this girl named Alyssa, who I became friends with her mom. I still keep in touch with her and her family. And she had a significant stutter, and I remember dibbling her and just feeling, gosh, I know what that feels like. And I was just getting to the point where I kind of overcome my stutter for the most part. And my heart bled for this young girl. Very intelligent. I ended up putting on some plays about diversity, and she starred in one of my plays and did beautifully. So it shows me that when students are called to perform, they can overcome any challenge they have. This poem is called More Than a Disability, and it's for Alyssa. You're standing next to me, trying to get out of your words, trying them on like new clothes that don't quite fit. You're stretching your sounds, filling in extra words that start rhythm to the sound zone. A big breath in, I wait, keeping eye contact so you won't feel nervous or think I'm going to finish your sentence. I want to hear from you. Fit. Dear forgiveness, life is not fair. People are not fair. There are some who will wait on you like the wind waits on goodbyes, and some who will try and speak for you, birds carrying seeds not their own. Don't let the mockers stem you, a flower with tried roots. Remember, beauty is a silk scarf roughing the rocks. Stay soft. The wind will tell you when. At recess, you run around in your green shoelaces, giving your friends the playground poke. Sometimes a boy pushes you on the swing, your arms letting go, like a fire-taking spirit, saying higher, a two-teeth grin pursing your stutter. And even when you accidentally kick that boy, he still swings you. He still looks down when he tells you secrets, his hands in his pockets, the twitch of time, holding a sweat only he cares, getting you like vision through glass. Forgiveness, were I able to shell that stutter out of your reach and into mine, I would not say another word. I would take a likely breath and watch you speak to that boy like those new clothes finally fit. But Kant doesn't play fair. It doesn't make things happen the way we pray why. So instead, I'll just stand here, waiting for you to tell me that kid who laughed at you at lunch is the same kid who you helped during math, when it's you that gives the morning its sake. It's not how you say it, but what you say. Thanks for filling my skies.